Hey everyone, and welcome to the first ever video forecast that I'm giving for this blog on Facebook, Jerusalem Weather Forecast. I probably won't be doing this too much. It's just faster, and I thought I'd give it a go. Why am I posting a video? Well, because we are about to face one of the first winter weather threats this winter, and there is certainly a really interesting situation developing for this upcoming end of the week that is worth posting about. I will try to show you why with these weather model pictures. Hopefully it would all make sense. Um, I want to first start by talking about something very unique that's developing in the upper levels of our atmosphere, and that's something called a block. A block is just another way of calling a high. A high is typically a dome of air that circulates outward, and it actually prevents storms and the jet stream from going into it. Usually the jet stream hits a high and it kind of wraps around it. A block is a fancy way of usually saying a even bigger high that is actually altering the weather pattern and bringing a significant change to the location where the block is forming. I'll try to explain to you why this is very important when we look at this latest Euro weather model run that just came out tonight. Let me just be clear. Over here is Israel, and this is the northern hemisphere. So this is actually America over here. If you can see the states, here's Europe, and here's Israel. And what we're looking at is a 500 millibar map, which is at one of the higher levels of the atmosphere. And the colors represent the temperature. Here, the blue is obviously more cold, purple is extreme cold, and just as you would expect, the warmer colors are warmer temperatures. So this is at the current state that we're in right now. You'll notice that here's Europe and here's Israel. We've got a lot of cold air locked up in the Arctic latitudes over Greenland over here, and the northern jet stream, which really is probably along where the mouse is going right now, is locking a lot of the cold air up from getting down to Israel. The southern jet stream right here is certainly going across Europe, and it actually is fluctuating in a way where it kind of keeps us chilly. But the cold, real cold air that we'd want is completely locked up in the north. But watch what happens as we scroll down the hours. Here's 24 hours from now, 48 hours, and just watch what happens. What we start to see is a significant ridge that builds right here over Finland and up into the Arctic latitudes, the North Arctic up here. And what it does is it sends an incredible trough of air all the way down. And really what's happening here is a high pressure block that's beginning to form. It literally punctures up into Europe and begins to build right around here. And what it's doing is it's literally sending the jet stream, the polar jet stream. It hits the block, it goes north, and it wraps all the way around it, sending an incredible trough down south into Europe and close to Israel, which is right around here. Notice how Israel's now in the green, which are colder temperatures. And this is a really large block for this area of the region. Let me show you what happens according to the Euro model. It literally, at hour 168, this is the best shot that you would want to see for snow. This is a block right here. You can tell how it's now become a circular dome of high pressure, and it's what happens is the reason why it's called a block is because it literally takes the cold air that was once here and it pushes it down, and the cold air is blocked from going back north where it technically belongs, you could say. So the cold air gets shoved beneath the block and it comes south enough to Israel, where we are able to actually get a pretty significant snowstorm. If we look at this closely, this is the same weather model, the Euro, just a little more zoomed in. Here's Europe, here's Israel. Watch how we go down to hours, and we literally get this nice shot of cold air about 6 to 7 days from now. And here's the block over here, and it's shoving this cold air right down into Israel. And that is a really awesome looking weather pattern that we want to see if we want to get a lot of snow. And the reason for that is because, firstly, this cold air, notice how it didn't really come across the Mediterranean so much, which is right over here. And usually the Mediterranean, reason why we want to avoid the Mediterranean when we can, is because it warms the air. This case, it literally came down across Russia and down into the Eastern European countries, and it pretty much avoided the Mediterranean and was able to stay consistently cold. Also, notice that the direction it came in was from Russia over here and diagonal this way. Again, avoiding the Mediterranean, but bringing a lot of awesome cold to Israel. Finally, the position of this block right here is very unique. Typically, Israel doesn't get storms thanks to a block. A lot of times this happens in America, where a block can form over Greenland, and that sends a lot of cold air down into the northeast coast, bringing some awesome blizzards and snowstorms over there in New York and New Jersey. Here we actually have a block forming literally overhead, and it's doing its thing, which is bringing cold air down. And I've never seen throughout forecasting weather here in Israel a situation where that's how we receive the cold. Usually we've received the cold with ridges, like we showed you before, like this, where a trough does develop, but never has a block or a dome of high pressure gotten this far north, right over here, enough to actually send cold air down into Israel like this. So it's really fascinating. This is the European model, though. And it's actually shown a solution like this for the past several days, different variations, but more or less the same idea, that the cold comes south enough and it brings us some pretty cold temperatures. Let's just look really quick at the 850 millibar. The 850s are lower, a lower level of the atmosphere. And notice how the 0 line, which is 0 Celsius, watch how it quickly comes right past Israel and sends us some incredibly cold air right here. This is close to -2, -4 Celsius, which is really good for snow if we want it in Israel. So this is the Euro. The European model is a good model that we want to look at for snow. Notice, though, the GFS has a completely different idea that, oops, let me go back to this, that I'm a little skeptical about. Maybe because I love snow, but also because I am surprised at the way it shows how the block sends the cold air down into Israel. But basically, you'll notice with the GFS, what happens is the ridge forms right here. This is the ridge, and this is the block beginning to form over North Europe. And then the block continues to, the dome of high pressure continues to develop overhead. But notice what happens to the cold as we move further down the hours. It basically doesn't get close to Israel. It basically goes right underneath the block and almost back into the cold over here, and just becomes a sort of cold air dome that doesn't come close enough to Israel to give us really anything substantial. The GFS has been doing this for several runs. A couple runs have made it seem similar to the Euro, but it's never been as strong or as significant as the Euro. One thing about the GFS2 is that it's shown many different ways that this block and this cold air forms and where it goes. Hasn't really been that consistent, in other words, which makes me doubt the GFS's consistency and accuracy. But another thing too is that what surprises me about this run of the GFS, here's Israel again, here's the block, and here's the cold, is that typically when blocks form like this overhead, the cold air goes much further south than what's being forecasted, like the Euro showed. So it's hard for me to believe that the GFS is handling this situation well. And because it's been so inconsistent from other runs before, which I'm not going to show in this video, it's hard for me to really want to rely on it right now. Again, this could be my snow obsession talking and hoping that the Euro is right, but it's just one thing to think about. this is a really cool looking model a really cool looking perspective to show what the block is. Let me pull it up this way. This is the European model. What we have here are the cold air anomalies, meaning when it's red, it means that this is above average temperatures, and when it's blue, it means below average temperatures. This is where we're at right now. Here's Europe, here's Israel. Just watch how the block forms on this type of map. Notice how basically it shoots up, the warm air shoots up here, and it literally develops into a massive black hole. Which is literally going off the charts. You see it going off the charts, and it is able to send the cold air down into Israel. Cold air anomaly, meaning colder than usual air, which will be great for a snowstorm. Again, the GFS does not do this. Maybe I'll quickly pull it up and just show you what's going on. Hold on, where is it? I can't find it. Here it is. All right. Basically, it does develop the same sort of block. Notice it's really big, but it doesn't bring the air down, which again is surprising. It's a massive block, but it's not bringing the cold air down into Israel. So that's surprising to me. So this is the situation. This is all. We're talking about 6 days out from now, which is a very long time. Things could change. We're also talking, there's no way to predict how much snow will actually come if the Euro is right. I'm not even going to go there. All I'm doing right now is posting the possible threat of a snowstorm and showing you the difference between the Euro and the GFS. Again, the Euro is a European model, the GFS is an American model, and we're seeing some pretty big differences. The GFS is not what we would want if we want snow. The Euro is, and this is the first threat that we've seen this winter that's been as post-worthy as this. I mean, this has been probably one of the most post-worthy threats I've seen thus far, and definitely has a lot of similarities to a lot of the big snowstorms we've received the past 4 years here in Jerusalem. I'll end off with that, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions about this, and also your thoughts on the video altogether, if you preferred it over reading, or if you prefer reading a post. I, again, am just experimenting here, if I'm flexible either way. Doing a video is much quicker for me though, which is why I decided to try it. So I'll keep you posted throughout the week if anything changes. If the threat goes away, I'll probably make a quick post saying that the threat has gone, the GFS won. But if it grows, you'll definitely see a lot more posts from this Jerusalem Weather Forecast webpage in the next several days. So everyone have a great week, and again, feel free to leave any questions posted below. Have a good one. Signing out.